Awesome. Welcome, everybody, to Connect and Serve Live, our monthly conversation where service, purpose, and the power of bees come together. I'm Steve Jimenez, the founder of Hives for Heroes, and I want to thank you for spending your time with us today. What we're doing here isn't just about beekeeping. It's about building community, creating purpose, and continuing our lifelong commitment to serve, shoulder to shoulder and knee to knee together. Join us in the chat. Tell us where you're from, and stick around for the gift card giveaway at the 45-minute mark. Well, I want to tell you a little bit about what we did this past week. We went to Urington, Nevada. I want to thank Debbie and Andy, our Nevada state leadership, the Mason Valley beekeepers, and all that joined us this past weekend for the Hives for Heroes event. Although it started off a little bit bumpy flying into Reno, the wind was nuts. We had the most incredible time sharing with the community in Urington. The event took place at Hunter's Place, a 21-acre property Ron and Allie dedicated to their son, Hunter, a soldier of this incredible country who was killed in 2015. This beautiful property honors his legacy and the healing that will continue through nature and community. Connection happened. Nigel, Ty, Pete, Ryan, Sarah, Jack, and all the other heroes there, thank you. Thank you for your service, and thank you for the encouragement to continue the work we do at Hives for Heroes. You have thousands of family members now, and I couldn't be more grateful. If you haven't been to Urington, it better be on your list. The Nevada State Conference is in February. The people, the food, the speakers, Bob Benny, John Z, David Tarpey, David Burns, and others. Check out the calendar for more details. You will not want to miss it. Also, North American Honeybee Expo in January. Event and tickets for the North American Honeybee Expo are on sale. And also, we have sold out several years in a row for the Hero Dinner. So there will be an announcement coming for that as well. Keep your eyes in your inbox. Members and those involved with Hives for Heroes will get the first chance to access before the public sale. And again, they do sell out. That's going to be Friday, January 9th. In Louisville, Kentucky. We will also be at the American Beekeeping Federation Conference in January from the 6th through the 11th. So check out the calendar for full details and plan to join us. One's in Mobile, the other's in Louisville. All of them have incredible people. We also have our annual fundraising gala here in Houston, Texas on November 14th. If you can, join us for a night of gold and gratitude as we honor our heroes and announce this year's Be More Scholarship recipients. Special guests include Texas radio legend Sam Malone, Texas country reporter JB Sauceda, and a ton of Houston leaders here in the area. If you can't make it, considering purchasing a Heroes Advocate table to sponsor heroes to the dinner and make sure more of them are honored this year. Also, our Be More Scholarship applications are now open, and we're already blown away by the response. If you've been in Hives for Heroes for more than 2 years, apply today. Applications close October 31st. Please don't miss your chance for the $1,000 scholarships. Awesome. Today's guest is someone who embodies that spirit of Vikinghood. Peter is an accomplished beekeeper, a global voice in the beekeeping community, and a leader who brings deep wisdom and perspective to the work that we do. He spent years with bees, learning from them, growing with them, and teaching others how to craft and change lives. We're going to explore his journey into beekeeping, talk about the incredible energy and ideas that came out of Apimondia 2025 in Copenhagen, and dive into why beekeeping is such a powerful tool for healing and connection, especially through the mission of Hives for Heroes. Whether you're brand new to the hive or a seasonal beekeeper, this conversation is more than bees. It's about people, purpose, and the difference that we can make together. So with that, let's dive in. Peter, welcome. We are so incredibly grateful to have you. How are you, sir?
Well, thank you so much, Steve. It's so great to be here, man. It's so great to be here. Thank you so much, and for the lovely introduction.
What time is it out there in Oslo right now?
Well, it's 4:30 p.m. So yeah, and it's in the afternoon. It's a nice afternoon. We have a kind of Indian summer now here in Oslo. So kind of the bees are flying a little bit today. That's not very normal, but today it was. So it's a good day.
Well, it's beautiful out there, and you show me a lot of pictures and videos, and I can't wait to get out there at some point. You got your incredible family out there as well, and coming from a European perspective is quite cool because clearly you were just at Apimondia, and we're going to jump into that as well. But I think our listeners really want to see, how did you get into beekeeping? Why beekeeping? How did it first start with you?
Yeah, it's a good question. So it's actually been on my mind for many years, but many years since but what happened maybe, I would say 5 years ago, it's kind of a tough time in life. But I like to work. I work a lot. So very fast-paced companies, commercial companies, startup scale-ups. So I was looking for something that could, something that would give me balance. And then maybe a prayer were heard, but I just, something struck me and said, hey, you know what? I'm going to do this beekeeping thing now. I'm just going to do it. So I pick up the phone, called someone in the local area who does the courses, and he said, hey, we have a course next week. What? Yeah. And then I, of course, participated into that course. And then, I'm here now. And from that, it's been a fantastic journey. So, I can talk for hours when it comes to beekeeping, but it's kind of happened suddenly, but was on my mind for many years.
Man, what I just heard was somebody invited you and you showed up. It's like 2 critical steps, right? A connection that just happened, and then you actually had the courage to show up to something that you might not have known. Now, for the listeners, Peder and I go way back now. We've been talking with each other for years through Bee Futures and a lot of other things that he has been able to do. And we have truly become brothers in this process, which is awesome. We talk at least once a week. And it's so awesome to have you on this call, because people don't realize at first the amount of connection that you actually get through this, and then the depth in which you can when you choose to do so. What's one of those turning points that you knew when it became more than just a hobby, right? So now you're inside of here. You're like, hey, I showed up. I love this stuff. But then you went and were able to commercialize as well.
So I tend to often go all in when I like something. It just, I'm a passionate guy. So starting beekeeping, getting my hives, getting into the network, understanding this thing, just gave me a lot of the right energy and the grounding. And then I've been working with scale up and startup with commercial roles for the last 15 years. And then I came across this company who does monitors beehives. And at that time I was also looking for kind of a job. So just like a good match. And then suddenly I was just doing everything. So I was I was taking care of my bees. I was traveling internationally and promoting their stuff. And then everything was happening at once.
Yeah, it's pretty cool to see the technology that's come from Bee Futures, and of course you're working with us as an ambassador in Europe, and the level of things in which you have done, they haven't been easy, right? Like you're kind of one of those guys that's going to go and do the hard things on purpose, and you literally have embodied that, and that can show that resilience for our veterans and first responders, that doing hard things is the right thing to do, overcoming fear and going into something that you never thought you would have, because you've been in other industries. But now beekeeping has your heart. Hives for Heroes and the things that we do here is incredible. So can you share just a little bit about that?
So, it's, again, beekeeping is just, it grounds me so much. I've never been in touch with anything like it before. It's just, I think that's maybe why I can relate so much with Hives for Heroes and the great job you're doing, how it all it's very difficult to describe. You got to just participate and feel it, because it's, it's been for people have been using and apitherapy for more than 5,000 years. So it's nothing new, but for me it was very new. So yeah, and then and towards that, with that and all the work, it was a huge impact.
Yeah, it's been a huge impact, and I would like to ask another question with this. Like, what have bees taught you, right? Like, you have a family, you have career, you're leading in many areas, including a nonprofit as well out there in Europe. What have the bees taught you about life, about leadership and community?
Well, good question. that's the lovely thing about working with bees, because you get grounded in a way that you serve a purpose. There's no room for individual people or bees or whatever in a beehive. It's all towards one purpose. They taught me, the caring of each other, the supporting, all the elements. It's so fascinating with the beehive, how they all know their task and they work towards the common goal. They're extremely caring, but they also can be very dangerous. So I think if bees taught me anything, is be calm, be present, and take care of the one next to you, especially your family. Of course, I guess we all know that, but it's so fascinating to watch it like in a beehive with a species which is like 100 million years old, and the way they do it, it's so magical and it's so profound, and then it's so precise. So whenever I'm in a beehive, it comes to my mind all the time. So it's like a muscle. So it just gives me enormously good amount of energy and a clear focus.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible for the experiences that I've had, at least, and I love sharing other stories. But in this case, that the calmness from the chaos. You would think that, oh my gosh, I'm super stressed. I have all this stuff going on, family issues, whatever those things are, financial, maybe some mental health struggles or things like that. And you're walking into danger and working in chaos, yet it brings that unbelievable calmness to the physiological effect. Sorry about that. How often has it been that you are in your bees out there in Oslo? Y'all have different weather than us for sure. So, what does y'all season look like out there?
At the moment?
Sure.
So I lost you on the internet. I know something happened here, just a connection. So can you repeat the question, please?
Well, how are your bees doing out in Oslo, and what does the season look like for y'all?
So right now, we make the best honey in the world, of course. There's nothing like it. And right now it's overwintering time, so we're closing them down for the winter, and they're going to stay in the hive for until March. So we're talking 7 months. So it's wintering time now for all the bees.
Wintering season already. I think we're getting into it in Houston. I know a lot of those are up north are already getting into that. Urington was still very beautiful, about 60 degrees. But they're right there. They're right on the cusp, and they're in a valley as well. So it's cool being able to travel the country and going and seeing all the different geographies, the foliage, and all that the bees are doing out there, and then come home and be like, oh, wow, ours are on a building right over here. From Hewlett Packard or Amegy or something like that. And our season here is significantly longer because it's Houston, right? We're very far south. So we get to work with the bees, 9 months out of the year, it feels like.
Yeah.
On an easy level, and our overwintering is pretty simple.
To give this in perspective, in north of Norway, they do beekeeping for 4 months, and then that's it. So it's a very short period here in the Nordics, especially in Oslo and in Norway. So the spring is extremely intense, and I do also have some special brown bees which can fly on the lower temperature. So they I wouldn't say they're out foraging right now, but almost.
Awesome. Let's switch some gears to Apimondia, right? You're able to represent Hives for Heroes at the largest conference in the world, as my understanding is, 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 people out there. This year, because it rotates every year, this year was in Copenhagen. So can you share a little bit about your experience there, what it looks like for somebody that would maybe like to go, and just kind of your takeaways from Apimondia as a whole?
Sure. I think they gathered 8,000 people being there, and it was incredible. It felt like, this is the entire beekeeping world had gathered in one place, and it was much more than kind of a conversation. It was more like a regularly conference is more like it's very commercial, but in this case it felt like my focus were on the health, biodiversity, technology, and community. So if I compared it to other expos, I think in this case it was more about covering all of the magical topics in beekeeping, but it was great. It was amazing, and also a lot of new stuff there, which I've been to Non-Expo, I've been to the big ones in Italy and the other ones around Europe, but this was truly amazing.
How did that look for you? I always like not just the conference piece, but the before and afters, right? The people that you meet, the conversations that you have. Did any of those stick out to you, like just people in general?
You think like me representing Hive Hero or just general?
No, just in general. Awesome people. Like, did you have any conversations that stood out? You were like, man, I would have never met this person.
Yeah,
be involved.
I met people from the Arabic countries. I met people from Africa. I met people from Asia, all over. And we have all one common interest, which is beekeeping. They also had this great global honey bar. That was like 300 honeys from 40 countries, and they all had this, this logo where you would come from, and that was truly amazing and and interesting.
Did you taste the difference, Peder?
I did, and I can say that stingless bees are not my kind of type.
Really?
It's very, because the nest where how they produce the hive is very different. It was, I guess, if you put it into food or something, it's great. But also, I mean, I was there for like for 3-4 days, and it was a truly amazing conference, and scientifically also. Because some of the highlights were like they had this tiny ML and edge computing, as micro learnings and machine learning. And since I've been into this industry for some years now, with hive monitoring and everything, this is really interesting because they have some technology with like ultra lower power chips, analyzing hive data on site, and they can predict things without the power and the Wi-Fi. So there was like things like that. There were all kinds of other booth. So it's like almost like a circus, but it was I would say a very interesting venue promoting whatever exists in the beekeeping world.
Yeah, and that's kind of the beauty about that is they intentionally rotate every year the countries in which they go to, right? They put this on. The planning team does an incredible job. We were able to meet the founder a while ago. He's a great guy out of Virginia here, actually in the U.S., right? They got a wonderful team, very welcoming, very supportive. Did you see any, like, you just talked about the technology piece. Nanotechnology really interests me, to be honest. I mean, you go out there, you start getting these larger apparatuses and putting those to smaller scales and making it accessible for people. That really helps the beekeeping industry not only collect data, but analyze data and seeing what that looks like. Did you see any other like trends that might, started in Europe and it'll end up over here in the States? Something that's like really forward thinking that we might not have seen yet.
So we talk about now data-driven management, which is kind of one thing that's stood out, and urban integration. Like cities are now embracing bees as a part of sustainability, education, and also mental wellness a lot. And of course, health and biology. So more focus on bee genetics, microbiomes, and natural resistance instead of chemicals. I think those 3 elements were pretty clear, but more and more actually on the mental wellness, which is, of course, touches my heart, and was clearly a venue for this.
Yeah, can you elaborate on that? It touches your heart. I know the work that we all do together, but you have your own story. Like, why is that important to you, mental health?
Oh, because, normally guys like us, we don't like to talk about, all this stuff, right? And mental health is extremely important. I like to work out and train, but also I think if you don't have the mind with you, everybody should have like a brain day, not only a leg day. You know what I mean? So if you like, lifting weights and working out, mental health is extremely important. It moves you forward. It's all in the head. Everything starts in the head. It's the biggest muscle you have. It can pull you down so heavily, and it can also, push you forward to do grateful stuff. And I think for especially, I can only, talk for myself, but I'm a dad, a husband, and have 3 kids, and so on that, so I can, I have some discussions all, daily in my house. But for the point of talking about mental health for, let's say, men, I think men have a problem often to talk about stuff, to get it out, and to it doesn't come that easy. Even me now talking thinks is, finds it a little bit tricky, right?
Right.
But connecting it, that's kind of so profound in my heart. Connecting it. I mean, you have bikers club, you have all kinds of clubs, right? Everything, right? But connecting people, another man with a beehive, and kind of that's the common thing we're talking about. Something happens, man. It's great. It's crazy. It's something really profound is happening. And I'm talking from my heart, from experience. I'm not the only one. So again, connecting mental health with bees and that relationship, just like the bees, they're taking care of themselves. So for me, and maybe it's a point of life as well, talking to friends, family, they're struggling, everybody, it's more like natural. You accumulate things in life when you become like an older, but reflecting that with the bees and the struggling, it just makes all sense, and it grounds you. So yeah, mental health is just maybe the bees are helping me towards this. So it's a extremely important topic for me, and I see it works. I bring people to the hives. They focus on different stuff. They get happy. They get away from the everyday stuff, and they get in the hive, and I didn't know that. And I give them the frame, and they look at it and say, "Oh, this is it. They don't sting. No, it's okay." And then after that, they glow. It's just, and then they get interested, and it's like, and the topic is so healthy to talk about bees. It's extremely healthy topic, and it surrounds so much other interesting knowledge. Just starting with the beehive, because they fly all around, right? So they pick up everything, and when they go back, so I can go on, man. So I'm very so. But I'm a young beekeeper, just doing it for like 4 or 5 years now. But every day that goes by, year, it's I see it the great impact it does, and I'm so positive onwards with this journey I'm about to pursue.
Yeah, it's incredible. The bees, like you said, it's so hard to describe because it's all our individual experience. Yet we can see the commonality in each other, like you said, the fear at one side, and then the glowing, right? The pure joy on the other side. Whether that's an accomplishment, maybe that's overcoming fear, maybe that's just doing something you've never done before. And the beautiful aspect that you don't have to talk, you don't have to share if you don't want to. It's not about that. The bees are doing their work in this therapy, right? It's like an alternative therapy practice that is, like you said, has been around forever. And I'm sure people have felt this experience, many that have gone before us. But now that we get to share it together and talk about it, it brings a next layer of healing, not just the bees, but as we say, like working knee to knee and shoulder to shoulder with people and experiencing life. These are simply our conduit that just grows. Maybe it's our spirit or our vision or whatever, opens the aperture, if you will, in a military term, to each other, right? Connecting to nature, connecting to yourself, and connecting to others. I think you just put it spectacularly, and I could see the joy on your face just talking about these.
I was so fortunate to experience myself, and bees came into my life in a perfect timing. And then, it's just, I want to give it to others as well. And then that's kind of, and the joy doing it. And I love being in the nature. Norway is a country of nice, beautiful nature. And I like to, stay in the nature, be in the nature. And I love to, walk in the nature. And then working with bees, I get very close to the nature, even though I have it outside my house. It's a different way of grounding to the nature. And I'm an animal lover. I have dogs, cat, but there's something very special with the bees. And I think also the mental aspect to it, you have to be calm, and it's like water. If you're calm, if you rush into water, you can't grasp any water. But if you're calm with the water, I think humans are like water. If something happens there, and then I've been to the hives and stressed one day or two, and then that doesn't work. The bees are like very upset. If I'm calm, and it's so interesting, every time I'm calm, they're calm. It can even be rainy. If I'm very calm, they're calm. It's so interesting.
That's a beautiful analogy. We have the verbiage or the adages of slow is smooth and smooth is fast. A lot of breath work in the military, right? When you're shooting, tactical pauses, tactical breath, and things of that nature. And it's really quite cool to see people that have the anxiety, right? We can kind of attribute it on a PTSD side with hypervigilance. You're always looking around, constantly wanting to know what's going on, which breeds the anxiety because you don't know what's going on. And that's probably the first time somebody goes into a hive is hypervigilance and anxiety, right? Which are huge indicators or pieces of the PTSD side. But regular people have that too without a diagnosis, right? So this hypervigilance, but then you get into this space where you're trusting, as we call it, trusting yourself, your gear, and your buddies, following a known process, finding success and building confidence. And we believe we can do that anywhere. So that adage that you just did of the water was beautiful, right? How you treat others. And this could go to people, right? Your family, the people that you work with, these adages go directly to life. And that's what to me is incredible, is making these analogies and either similes or metaphors directly to what the hive is doing for us and then what we can do for and with others.
Amen to that.
So kind of talking in that same length is, I mean, you're a member of Hives for Heroes. You have been for a couple years now, spreading the great word out there in Europe as well. What do you think is different about Hives for Heroes? What makes it stand out?
It's a very good question, and I mean, it stands out in a way that is so very clear. I mean, of course, I've been visiting guys many times, and everybody is so respectful, nice, open-minded. They're good listeners, so it's a fantastic community, I must say. So when I met you guys, I think we met first at NAExpo a couple of years ago, and I was just wow. That's kind of my first meeting with you guys, and I was like, wow. And then all the things you do. I mean, what stands out is that we see it works. We know it works. The data show it works, and I think the sustainability to a society to do this thing is so important. You talk about people talk about. The pollution of the planet. We talk about the climate crisis and everything, but sustainability, taking care of one another in this kind of way, is just, for me, that's sustainability. And what stands out is that I really believe we are on a mission to do this here. I think the foundation of Hives for Heroes, what we've been doing so far, is just tremendous. It's so great. We know it works. We should let more people into this world and see how it works. It's just 1 + 1 is 3. So, meaning standing out, the people, the mission, and the impact.
Oh, that's great. I sit here and I look at even myself explaining what Hives for Heroes is, because we have all these check marks. Oh, okay, great. We have the connection piece, awesome. But if you don't do anything with it, it doesn't do anything, right? We have the platform for it, but if you as an individual don't do it, well, you're not going to get anything from it. The scholarships, being able to give dollars, actually. People earn dollars in Hives for Heroes, right? They go do the work and then they get rewarded for that. Fellowships and jobs. Those are all like the what's, right? That what stuff. And the why is incredibly hard to describe. I mean, even for me, I'm like, it's just a great org. I can go anywhere in the country. We have events or conversations, and it doesn't matter if it's a one-to-one sit down. That is actually the most critical component. And that's never on TV. That's never in an article. That's never any of that stuff. But it matters the most.
Right? And I think there's an interesting element to that, because in these days, social media, technology, everybody's on the phone all the time. This is not healthy at all. Okay, I'm a Generation X guy. But still, we all get sucked into that. So I think I really believe for the years to come, the grounding element is going to be more and more important for all individual. And the grounding is not just walking on grass, but be in contact with an animal. And then bees again, it's something different there. That gives that's why I believe there's a very interesting future aspect for apitherapy, like what we do here. And then the mental aspect to it as well is extremely important. People talk. I mean, right now you guys are serving veterans and first responders, but I think this can go way beyond that, especially in Europe as well. And I think so. There's foundation here that is very needed, and it's very healthy for humankind. And I think it's people are getting their eyes open now and see wow and understanding it, because every single person I talk to when I talk about this, they're like, okay, I have 5 minutes. Please tell me about it. So it's like there's something very unique here, almost spiritual.
I think that's a great aspect that you put in there, and the work that we do is incredible because it's from the feedback from the members, right? We don't just go and create things. It's like, oh man, this is something that's needed or necessary, and we're saying, okay, does it fit within our scope of work, right? Does it serve the veteran and first responder in a way that accomplishes the mission? And if those things are yeses, and we have the funding to do so, we're going to go out and do it. Right. That's because if somebody needs it, there's probably somebody else out there that needs it too. And as you mentioned, spiritual, that's what I feel like in a hive. That's exactly what I feel like in a hive. And you just mentioned the veteran and first responders and beyond. I would agree with you on that. We focus on veterans and first responders because of the similar and shared trauma accesses. And as we know, trauma affects the brain the same way as a human, right? So whether that's a car accident, combat, a significant death in a family, or childhood trauma, sexual abuse, all these things form on the brain the same way. So it's beautiful that the bees, they don't care about your trauma. They're doing their work, right? Yeah. And that to me is beautiful. It's like they are just doing what they do. And for me, it didn't make me feel small by any means. And it just gave me a little bit of selfishness, right? Being internal, because now I get to take care of the bees and I'm out of my own brain. I'm out of my own trauma, and I'm working through that. And I wonder if that's kind of one of those aspects of overcoming that trauma, is being able to move through that trauma.
And I think, caring for beers is not like caring for a dog. It's intensive period of time, so it suits well people with with that has some mental problems or a problem challenging taking care of themselves, or just in general. It's a very I think that's very important to take. It's just like, at least here in the Nordic, so you have like these intense 4 or 5 months. So and everybody can do it. It's not so difficult. So I think it will feel like very fast, like feeling of like mastering something and accomplishing something. And within that space, that's truly important as well. Yeah,
the accomplishment piece is huge, right? It's like mowing your yard. You see something that is kind of ugly, if you will. You go out, you put that effort in, you mow the yard, and you're like, wow, I did that. Can't take that away, right? And it's beautiful. And that's how I feel with the bees too. The purpose of the purpose and healing that we bring through this community. Yes, it's about bees, but it's often mostly about people, right? You keep every so often, but you can pick up a phone or shoot a text at any time that you're thinking about somebody. How has that shifted, or what have you learned from our experiences together of the human side mattering, like that people first, bees always mindset? How do we take care of each other in a better way? Is that simple communication, or what does that look like?
You mean what I'm learning watching the bees and
kind of taking it to how they connect? How can we take that and bring that to each other?
I think the great thing about bees is that they're going for a higher goal, right? So they have one purpose. We got to get food. We got to get out there. We got to get something to eat, and we got to develop this colony. And they do it very like it's like there's very clear of every tasks in there. There's not like a dictatorship. Well, you have the queen, but she's a slave and she's the queen, so she's both to some extent. But I think working together, helping each other towards one common goal, I think is extremely important. And I think it's very natural for every human being. When you come to individual, and the ego becomes too big, we all know, that can often not be so good. And I don't think it's in our genes to do that generally as a species. But then working with honeybees like this, it kind of reminds you within your DNA and in your bones that this is natural for me. And watching them doing that, it's with all their different steps towards their final hour. It's just amazing how they do it. And then and I think also so. Doing that all the time, it maybe becomes natural to deploy that into everyday life as well. And I think for every beekeeper that start doing beekeeping and try to take this into their personal life after this, or at least find similarities, we'll see the same it's just, we're here to serve a higher goal and a purpose, and we need to work, we need to cooperate, and we need to talk to each other, and we need to, help each other to go towards that goal. Together we stand so much more powerful than being alone. And yeah.
Wow, you put some powerful pieces in there, because better together, right? If we're working together towards a common goal and all rowing in the same direction, what can't we accomplish? I think that's beautiful to understand. Like on our side over here is finding a purpose bigger than yourself, right? And then going out and sharing that with people and sharing that joy. There could be more joy in the world, right? You see the news. There's this bad news and this bad news and this weather incident and this. But coming together, like we did in North Carolina and other disaster reliefs, even, is bringing those resources together and sharing those with others. And our singular purpose here at Hives for Heroes is connecting in order to prevent something negative from happening. Right? We're sitting here in a position of serving and connecting with our brothers and sisters, so that maybe a temporary feeling doesn't become a permanent result. As you know, in the States, we have 22 veterans taking their lives every single day. There is no numbers on first responders, which I think is probably pretty high too, right? The trauma that is brought in and the coping mechanisms are different between vets and first responders. Those first responders have to come back every single day to their families and then put on the uniform and go do it again. As of us in the military, we go, 7, 6, 8 a year. And then come home, and everything's different. So these coping mechanisms are different, but that shared purpose and that shared goal allows us to all be, on the same bus, right? And as we continue to serve in this capacity, I love it because it's scalable, because we're human. And just the human aspect is what allows us to grow in a capacity that not only serves ourselves in a self-interested way, not a selfish way, but in a self-interested way, then expands to our families. We have so many families in Hives for Heroes. It's incredible. Like one person joined, right? The vet or first responder joined, and then all of a sudden the spouse and the kids are all involved, right? It's pretty incredible. And then expanding that to our communities, in our local areas, which then expands regionally, by state, by country. And it's incredible how it all really starts, just like the bees do, is right in a singular, right in your backyard, for example.
Yeah.
As you keep growing and learning from the beekeeping perspective, what does it look like in the future for you? What do you think about, with whether that's Hives for Heroes or you personally in your journey? What does your future look like here in the next, maybe 3 to 5 years of this wonderful life of beekeeping?
Well, I want to bring beekeeping, as I'm a passionate guy about beekeeping. So there's this balance between getting it like more sustainable, like make pollinator health a required metric in environmental or as an agriculture reporting. That could be great for companies, not just to be like a sustainable conversation. So what I'm trying to say is that in the next years, I would like, to the working with bees is just very natural for me. It just goes very automatically. So I think if I can be in a position to be able to make beekeeping a more like I would say a valuable resource for people and in nature, and combine it with the corporates to some extent, make that bigger impact, that would be something I would like to do, because it's I've seen the impact it does already. I've been working, traveling all over the world, all Europe, and not much Asia, but Europe and the US, and I see how the way it goes today, all the data that can be used, and all the impact it gives, and the therapy for people. So I believe there are great years ahead of us for working with the bees and applying all the things around bees to humans. So I guess somewhere in that space, you'll find me in a couple of years' time, I guess.
Well, I definitely believe that, because I've seen the other stuff that you do outside of beekeeping, right? And I know you're a pretty strong guy. Like to go to the gym maybe every now and then. What does that routine look like for you? You go to the gym outside of beekeeping. Who is Peter? Peter goes to the gym, he takes care of his family. Who is Peter?
So I believe in balance in life. It's extremely important. I said like earlier that I'm really enthusiastic when I get something in my mind, like, I go all in, but I learned through the years that, the balance of everything is extremely important. And even in the being in a hive reminds me about the balance in life. So as a person, I'm 51 years old. Yeah, I like to work out. I've been doing like some boxing and weightlifting for 25 years now. So it's kind of part of my life. I'm a dad of 3 teenagers. I'm married, a husband. So I'm a pretty hectic guy. As a professional person, I've been working with the technology. So software technology, especially in the software as a service market internationally for the last 15 years. So it's been very much into that space, into the tech space. I think I have some understanding of that space generally. So I hope to combine all my work experience, which I love to do. I love to travel, love to meet new people, love to develop stuff, but to bring my beekeeping passion towards this, combine this something together, so more sustainable. So yeah, otherwise I'm just regular guy in the 50s.
Regular guy, yeah, and a really good friend. And the things that we're able to do together, like you said, better together. We have a lot of conversations back and forth on what does this look like, what does that look like, and that's mentorship. That's that peer-to-peer mentorship that is so unbelievably important. As you mentioned before, yeah, for men to be able to talk to another man about those problems or those issues that you might not want to uncover in a group setting, for example. But the closeness that you can have, even as far away as we are, is pretty impressive. And I know that happens around the community extremely frequently, because even the times that I only get to see those guys or girls, once a year, right? Like Debbie, I only get to see once every other year, and I love every moment of that. Debbie and Andy is so incredible, and that's what that family looks like. And we use the word family, but we don't use it loosely, right? We get to get vulnerable with each other. We get to talk about things or not talk about things. What I love is oftentimes we do this around meals, right? Because we're spending time with each other. So we get to break bread, which is
or in the car, yeah,
important. And share things that are outside of beekeeping. Because of course we don't beekeep every day. Not all of us. Some of us do on the call. There's some commercial guys out here that do that. But for the most part, this is a hobby that is, whether that's healing or something that you just really enjoy doing. But now you get to do it with a lot of other people and ask those questions, right? I believe in our community, there's not silly questions, because we're all at different times in our beekeeping journey. And like you said, within 4 or 5 years, right? Oh, okay. Well, you've managed more hives than 4 or 5 years of a beekeeper that has, 2 hives in the backyard. And you've done it all over the world, which is pretty incredible. Can you share a couple of, maybe one of your favorite experiences overseas that maybe I haven't even heard that story before, but an experience overseas that you're like, wow, this is incredible. It's still the bees, but I'm in this completely different environment.
You think like me being with the beehive, or just general?
Yeah, you being with the hive somewhere, because I know you travel all over the place.
Oh, that's a tough one. There's been so many like magical moments. It's difficult to pick one. I mean, we've been to visit together, you and I. It's been truly interesting when it's kind of, that's a tough one. It's really tough because it's so many things comes to my mind. I mean, I have to say in general, I've been so fortunate to do all these visiting hives all in like from rooftops. I mean, I've been working a lot with urban beekeeping. So I've been on the high rooftops in huge cities in the US, in Europe, windy, beautiful, with like green rooftops, like in so urban districts. It's like you like walking into a different world, and the bees are foraging and working. And I've been in areas with a deep tech with the bees and working, really see how heavy technology works alongside with bees. It's so like everything is connected. And I've been to hives where the Asian hornet is like on acid and crazy and like on you all the time. So you kind of like you're trying to do the hive, and at the same time the bees are stressed, and you have like 100 of Asian hornets going after the bees, and you have to do. So it's been so many different experiences, but I'm grateful for every one of them. And I'm like a fisherman. I'm always trying to catch a new one, to seek the new experience. But they come They come just naturally.
Yeah, I think that's that might be the biggest takeaway. Asian hornets.
Yeah, that's
All right.
crazy. Oof, yeah, and in France, especially, they're like in the cities of France. Oof, they're all over. So that's a huge problem. Seriously, poor those bees. They're so stressed because they're flying around and feasting on them. So yeah, that's a huge problem. They need to face. And there were actually some at Apimondia, some things for some progress on that thing as well. So we'll see. But that's
wow. I have never experienced that. That's something that I might have to travel with you just to be a part of, as crazy as that is. So right now it's time for our gift card giveaway in honor of Hunter in Hunter's Place. You can find them in Urington, Nevada. Great place to go. Wonderful people, but really honoring the memory of Hunter, our brother, whose life was taken. Please text Hunter in the comment channel. Hunter, we're going to honor our brother today. Hunter in the channel, and we'll do our 2 $100 gift card giveaways as we continue on this. Now I want to get back on this Asian hornet thing. Okay, like what is that experience like? Like I said, I've never done that, but I mean, I've been in swarm bees, I've been in angry bees, we've had Africanized bees, etc. So I can understand that feeling. But what does that look like?
Well, it's a huge bee. Crazy, it's a hornet. It's very, very big, and all they do is feast on bees. So it's not a problem here in the Nordics. We have some other ones like that very north called geithams. They're coming now, of course, of the global heat and everything. Everything moves north. It's just moving around. But no, this is most around Europe, mid-Europe, and it's a huge problem for anyone who, especially in the city, has beekeeping. Because the bees don't go out, they get stressed, and they then won't be able to forage or produce honey that much. So yeah, it's a challenge they need to face, but it's not a species that wants to survive.
Absolutely, they're pretty large, huh?
Very large, like 5 times a regular bee, I would say. Yeah.
Wow.
But they're not aggressive on humans.
Okay.
So that's okay. So then, I mean, there's not like this African. I think the ones you have in the US comes from that. Those are a little bit more feisty. So I heard. But these, of course, they you don't want to piss off these kind of hornets. But they don't. They primarily are attacking and going for the honeybees.
Yeah, we had a pretty, I would say, negative experience, a learning experience for sure. We were working with a ground hive, Africanized. We had them tested afterwards, right? Because you don't know if they're Africanized. They could just be angry, aggressive, ill-tempered. But in this case, they were, and they're a ground hive. I moved one twig, and they followed me for about 750 meters, and I was fully blacked out of bees. Yeah. It was unbelievable. And they had called us out there because the operators were getting affected. So diesel tractors, they would turn on the tractor, and the bee, from the vibration, I would assume, then is going and attacking them. It was crazy. So we went out prepared, but still unprepared.
Yeah, it's difficult to be prepared for that. It's
crazy.
Yeah, I've seen beekeeping all over the world, and it's like all kinds of different hornets. But yeah, I know about them as well. I heard about them, but no, these in Europe are not that feisty or aggressive. But for the honeybees, they are, which is a huge problem.
Well, so I have like on the human side, right? Getting back to the human side, and you've talked about sustainability many times. What can we learn from the bees about sustainability and staying resilient within our communities?
I mean, take care of each other, right? I mean, it's all about taking care of one another. Stop, listen. Just my dad told me once, you have 1 mouth and 2 ears, listen. And just be present. I mean, being with bees, be present, be calm. I think, we live in a stressful world. Everything is around, go there, go here, ambitions, you got to get things going, be your best person, whatever, and then go. I think that's not healthy at all. And I think the bees and that thing can help us just, at least if you want to do that, do it with someone, and stop up and take care of each other.
That's a great point. That's a great point. Also, and this is a policy question, and it's kind of weird. It's kind of out there. What is one like global policy to protect bees or pollinators that you might implement? It's just a random question, like a global if you could wave a magic wand, what could we do to serve these pollinators?
Well, I think I mentioned earlier a little bit, but I'll make pollinator health a required metric in environmental and agriculture reporting, not just an optional ESG checkbox, but B should be part of every sustainable conversation. Something in that direction would be great.
That would be very, very nice. And kind of like I wouldn't say the last question because I'm sure I'll have others, but what advice would you give somebody that's never touched a hive? It's brand new. What kind of advice would you give them that want to join either this community or any community that's going to serve them?
So being a beekeeper opens up a total new world. It's not about just going into a hive. You're going to open a world to people and learn stuff you never knew before. You might think just, okay, that's a hive and that's beekeeping. Oh, bees, there a wasp or this thing, and I got honey. It's like a new door. And then and in my club here in Norway, we don't know this local club. Many of them are not beekeepers. They just want to join to be part of the group to talk about it. So I think just be open-minded. Just have a talk with someone who bees. Just join any group. Just try it out a little bit. If you know any beekeeper, ask him or her, can I join him one day? They will probably say yes, because beekeepers are mostly very nice people. Reach out to them, and I used to be. I didn't like to fly. I was scared of flying many years ago, and I found that's not going to be very good in the long term. So I did a lot of investigation, research. Why am I scared of? And then firstly, I found out, okay, if I get myself to the airport, then I'm safe. Obviously, because of the stats, so the flying is very safe in general. It's like the safest way you can travel almost. And then and that turns, so instead of having the fear, I was curious. I started becoming curious. What is this? And I think a lot of people they are missing the opportunity of working with bees because they might be scared of this stinging and the bees, and they might be a little allergic. But there's tons of ways of solving that. So I think just being curious, ask someone, and then just what's the worst thing that can happen? Well, you're gonna learn great stuff about pollinating and some honey and things you never knew you would learn before. But it's always good to have that knowledge.
Wow, that's something that I did not know we had in common, which was having the fear of flight. That was a big one for me to get over, and I'm glad we share that. That's pretty cool. But you're right, fear can be overcome by the curiosity, and that curiosity, the more that you're informed, the less fearful you are. I love that. I think that's great advice for a new beekeeper to come in and say, well, I'm having a little bit of a challenge stepping over this, but maybe educating themselves via the University of Arkansas's platform with John, something like that, 18 modules that are completely free of charge to be able to learn from that and go, oh, wow, the bees really don't want to sting us.
And you don't need. And I think with beekeeping, it resonates a little bit with football. Why do soccer, we call it in Europe, why do so many people watch it? Because everybody knows how to kick a ball, right? So you have your perception on so you can grasp at least something when a game is going on. And with beekeeping, you don't need to be like perfect. You can just knowing a little bit. It's a lot. It's so much more. So it's just the step towards this, and there's the learning curve is so high. So if you want to just jump into a new hobby, which is which ground you and is interesting, and you don't want to learn too much too fast, just go gradually, and then be among great people. You should try it out.
I think that's great what a great point. That's awesome. Yeah, just find something in commonality moving forward. I think that's wonderful advice. And I can't wait to continue our relationship as it goes down many, many years from here. I already know that's going to happen. And I want to thank you for your time, especially in a completely different time zone, in a completely different country, to share your knowledge and experience from Apimondia, from your background, from your commercial experience, and just you being a human. We want to thank you so much. So we appreciate your time, and I look forward to all the continued growth that we'll be doing together.
Same here, brothers. Happy to serve and to take part of this great mission.
Awesome. Talk to you soon. Thanks, brother. Awesome. Final announcements again. We have our NABI, North American Honey Bee Expo. All those tickets are going on sale. Again, remember, we sell out of those tickets pretty quickly. They're $30. You'll be getting some links available in your email as well as a first come, first serve basis. We have 300 tickets available. Of course, all those amazing people that you know will be there. You know, Bob Benny, Cayman, and all those. Might even get a special surprise from Cayman on that one. So you'll be getting an email, and it'll also go out in our social media first. It is January 9th from 6 to 10. It'll be a great time of food, incredible foods. Thank you to Mission Barbecue for that. And thank you to Man Lake for sponsoring this event. Man Lake's done a tremendous amount for us here at Hives for Heroes, but also all over the country. Also, remember, the American Beekeeping Federation will be having their conference, their annual conference in Mobile, Alabama. That is January 6th through the 11th, I believe. So if you can make it out there, the events and all the details are on our calendar at hivesforheroes.org. Again, we have our annual fundraising gala here in Houston, Texas, November 14th. Join us if you can. It'll be a great, great evening. We got a lot of awards going out. We got some special guests, again, including Texas radio legend Sam Malone. If you're from Texas, you know this guy. He's incredible. And then our Texas Country Reporter host, JB Sauceda, he just took over for a 35-year host of Texas Country Reporter. And you can see that video that he did on Hives for Heroes on our YouTube page as well. And of course, there will be a lot of Houston leaders here. There'll be a lot of people that really care, love, and respect this mission. And most importantly, we will have our heroes there to support as well. And if you can't make it, consider purchasing a Hero Advocate table to sponsor our heroes and make sure that more of them are honored this year. We have a lot of big plans, a lot of a huge future coming for Hives for Heroes. We're incredibly blessed, and we want to continue to steward that in the most appropriate ways. Again, our Be More Scholarship is open. If you have 2 or more years of experience inside of Hives for Heroes, please go and fill the application. It's available on hivesforheroes.org under the scholarships tab. Fill out that. We have a tremendous amount of applications already, and we get to go through those through a vetting process, and those will be awarded on the gala night on November 14th. Peter, again, hey, thank you, not just for your time today, but for the impact you continue to make on this world. Your insight, experience, and passion for beekeeping remind us that this work is bigger than hives and honey. It's about healing, connection, and serving others in an amazing way, not only to each other, but to our communities and to this planet that we all share. So to everyone who joined us today, I want you to remember something simple. You belong in this story. Whether you're a beekeeper, a veteran, a first responder, or someone who just believes in building something that lasts, there's a place for you here. At Hives for Heroes, we say shoulder to shoulder and knee to knee, because none of us are meant to do this alone. Together, we can change lives, protect pollinators, and build a healthier, more connected future. So here's my ask. Visit hivesforheroes.org, sign up with us, and get involved. And stay involved. It's important, not only for you, but for others. And if you're already a part of the mission, invite somebody new to join us. Send them a video, send them a website link, something. Send them an invite. That's how it all started for most of us. And if you're able, support this work through the mentorship, through sponsorships or donations, so we can keep expanding this life-changing impact. And before you go, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. It's one of the simplest and most impactful ways to grow this mission and reach more people who need it. Thank you all for being part of this journey. Together, there's nothing that we can't do. Until next time, keep serving, keep connecting, and keep building the hive.